There's another player that has wronged Caitlin Clark, and they're out of the league.
Indiana Fever in the Chicago Sky here from Wintrust Arena. The Fever have really stretched out this one.
It ultimately came down Diamond DeShields. Yep, the same person who destroyed Caitlin Clark in How Many. Have discovered the hard way what happens when you mess with the WNBA's golden child, and they're calling the season's cheapest shot.
She is no longer in the league because she not only got let go by the Chicago Sky, she has been let go by the New York Liberty, and she's crying online about it.
The league did not simply bench her. Instead, they locked the door, threw away the key, and slammed it shut, making it impossible for any club to pick her up. She is now officially banned from pre-game strutting and post-game weeping. Diamond transformed from a competitive rival to a warning on social media. After one careless shoulder check on the league's most marketable and gifted player, Diamond is now unemployed, stranded with her gym bag and nowhere to go. She looks like someone who just realized they took a wrong turn off a cliff. If you believe Diamond deserves it, let's move on.
Oh, Caitlin Clark is trying to cut in this position right here, and Diamond DeShields just body checks her. Like, it's a foul. This sequence of play was wild. Absolutely, absolutely wild.
Let's not mince words. This is more than simply a roster cut. The WNBA's front office is sending a strong message. If you go after Caitlin Clark, you're not only risking a foul, you're risking your career.
Caitlin Clark gets hit from behind, how bad, egregious it was from Diamond DeShields, and Caitlin Clark jumps up and runs away from Diamond DeShields.
However, this is what has folks talking the most. We're breaking everything down, from the notorious hit to the backlash that reverberated throughout the league to the shocking collapse of a once promising player who decided to vent her annoyance on the league's brightest star. Why did it take so long? Why did the league wait until the outrage reached boiling point? Who else is terrified that they'll be the next?
The league is getting rid of the Caitlin Clark haters. DJ Curry better move on eggshells, bro. She's the only one left. She is no longer in the league, crying online about it.
The play that started this inferno wasn't a heat of the moment hustle foul. Rather, it was frustration in its most basic form, with an obvious target. Caitlin Clark, during what ought to have been a standard Fever versus Sky match, with Indiana leading handily, Diamond DeShields made a move, but it was forcefully directed at Clark rather than the ball, and she didn't care about the repercussions.
Caitlin Clark is the cash cow in this league. She is the needle mover.
Man, oh man, when Caitlin Clark does something, everybody celebrates. When Caitlin Clark does something, there is no jealousy.
She flattened Clark and then had the audacity to act as though it had been just another play, reaching out a hand in mock sportsmanship as if she hadn't just steamrolled the league's face. The crowd saw it, the cameras captured it, and the analysts replayed it. She came barreling and shoulder-lowered, locked in like a linebacker, with no attempt at a clean contest or honest defensive stance. It was a statement, and a cheap one at that, not a defense.
Caitlin Clark played against the Chicago Sky, and she got cheap-shotted, and there is a sequence of plays that's crazy, and it leads to Caitlin Clark telling her team, is it Erica Wheeler, that she wanted to fight Diamond DeShields.
The clip went viral in a matter of minutes, and everyone had an opinion. Most people weren't kind of dirty play, cheap shot, a new low fan. Former players and sports personalities all agreed that this wasn't just reckless, it was targeted. One reputable analyst even said, "She's not fooling anyone." That was intentional, and to many, it wasn't just another transgression against Clark. Rather, it was the most flagrant and brazen attack, surpassing even the Kennedy Carter hit that ignited the internet only weeks earlier.
She assaulted Caitlin Clark on the court right before Caitlin Clark came off the court with 3:52 left.
And this is what fans were most offended with. No whistle, no technical, no flagrant, and no ejection were present. The referees pretended not to notice. Caitlin had to pick herself up and continue after the league remained silent, but fans remembered that the WNBA's silence didn't go unnoticed. When the internet did what it does best, replays flooded every feed, and the question, if the league won't protect its biggest star, who are they protecting? kept coming up louder and louder until finally the WNBA realized that the spotlight on Clark was also a microscope on them and that they could no longer ignore this.
Diamond DeShields actually getting waived from the Connecticut Sun just one day prior to tomorrow's May 16th WNBA's 2025 season tip-off. She looked heartbroken and in pain, with the news of her being waived from the Connecticut Sun.
Getting waived is crazy because, what do you do after you get waived? I got all my stuff up here that I drove in a rental car from Atlanta, and now I have to drive all my stuff back to Atlanta.
Shields may have escaped immediate punishment, but the damage was mounting behind the scenes. Her job diminished, her minutes vanished, and she was silently sent the door in Chicago without a thank you montage or press announcement. Fans held out hope when the Connecticut Sun added her late in the preseason, thinking that this might be the chance to save her career. However, just one day before the season began, the Shields were cut again. This time it felt like a final cut rather than a strategic roster move, a door closing hard. Just gone, then the New York Liberty swooped in with what appeared to be a lifeline, a new team, a fresh start, but it didn't last.
WNBA commissioner playing in house with these Caitlin Clark haters.
And then there was the Instagram post, no bluster, no they'll regret it energy, just sadness, real raw, and displaying a hazy selfie with a heartbreak statement that gave the impression of someone who had finally come to terms with the league's decision not being in her favor.
The team will ship 3 to 5 boxes, but I have more than 3 to 5 boxes worth of stuff.
If you are not producing, if you're not giving them what they need, if you're not putting them stats up, if you ain't putting up no numbers, you're going to be out of a job. Again, look what just happened to Haley Jones. She just was on Instagram the other day, excited about closing on her home. The very next day, the Atlanta Dream just cut her.
In a video posted online, Diamond DeShields sat in her car with packed bags and a heavy silence. She looked hollowed out, the kind of heartbreak that doesn't shout, but instead quietly settles in. She described how, just hours before opening night tip-off, she had driven all the way from Atlanta excited to take advantage of what she thought was her next big chance with the Connecticut Sun. But just hours before the call was cut, there was no ceremony. No closure, just a thank you, but no thanks. To make matters worse, she couldn't even get a rental car to drive her belongings back. The team would send 3 to 5 boxes, she said, but I've got way more than that. That's not just luggage. It's the weight of a career that collapsed with the quiet thud.
As the lovely Lee Ross always says, women in sports do not want to see other women in sports succeed. It's just the way they're built.
That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
Many are referring to it as an unofficial lifelong ban, which is evident in practice, but not on paper. The most obvious impact in recent WNBA history is Diamond DeShields' collapse, and fans aren't the only ones who are questioning this. Everyone is watching, including players, analysts, and insiders. One broadcaster summed it up brutally efficiently. They're cleaning the house, and she's the newest.
Somebody said that the Diamond DeShields flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark was more dangerous than the Kennedy Carter one.
And if you've been observing, you've noticed the pattern. Kennedy Carter is now hooping in Mexico, and the Shields are outside. This isn't a glitch. Rather, it's a purification. The WNBA is making a statement, and Diamond simply became the poster child. Her once rising star status now fades away, not because she lacked skill, but rather because of that one instance of a blatant, unapologetic, cheap shot on Caitlin Clark. That one hit now eclipses every statistic, every victory, and every highlight reel.
There's the two sides who think she is only popular and does have the notoriety and recognition that she does because she is white. There is the other side that says you guys are crazy, you're all jealous of her, and she is just talented.
As the Shields begged for relocation assistance, the online responses were inevitably harsh. One user joked, "She going to cry in the car." "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes" was added by someone. The WNBA drew its line in the sand, and Diamond is now obviously on the wrong side of it, But her collapse is more than just a single player's demise. It's a crack in the dam exposing all the resentment and politics simmering beneath the surface for months. There isn't much sympathy because this wasn't just about one hit. It was about an attitude, a culture of aggression, and a refusal to change. The league had tolerated it until now. Diamond's unfolding began the day Caitlin Clark entered the league and completely upended it, not with a bad start.
And that's what a lot of these women are doing, is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game, and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry. When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? Everybody else. It's helping the Asia Wilsons. It's helping everybody else, the Plums, all that. It's helping all of them, the Tarasis.
Because everyone who tries to guard Cece wins.
Because, let's face it, Caitlin didn't just show up. She exploded onto the scene with record-breaking viewership, sold-out games, and a national spotlight that the WNBA had only dreamed of. However, that spotlight also exposed the cracks. Suddenly, Caitlin became a lightning rod, not because of what she said, but because of what she represented, a white phenom from Iowa entering a league that was predominantly black and becoming the face of it all. That energy didn't sit well with everyone. The whispers turned into shade. The shade turned into hard fouls, and finally the Shields took a shoulder straight to Clark's chest.
Okay. To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pros, right?
Yeah.
In a tragic turn of events, the WNBA remained silent while fans pleaded for safety and analysts highlighted concerns. Social media called for accountability, but league officials remained silent. For months, Kathy Angel-Burt, the commissioner, avoided any chance to publicly defend her league's most valuable player. The silence became so overwhelming that fans began to wonder if NBA Commissioner Adam Silver was the one who finally intervened to stop the bleeding.
With the increased attention this year, there's also been increased scrutiny about the quality of refereeing. Curious if there has been any conversation about whether it's referee pay, referee training, anything to ensure that is as good as it can be.
Yeah, and the one thing as a very long-term sports fan I know is that officiating and refereeing is always at the top of a fan's list, of the media's list. Obviously, we work hard on training. We work hard on consistency. Obviously, not every, they're humans.
Additionally, the elephant in the room race is a difficult subject that won't go away if ignored. When both black and white commentators notice a pattern, it becomes impossible to ignore Caitlin, the white newcomer who isn't just getting fouled, but also being jeered, hit, and ignored while carrying the league on her back. Many of Caitlin's most violent run-ins on the court have involved black players.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
There are those who argue. This is about resentment, not race, and to be honest, that's also legitimate. Longtime players were left in her wake by the pace of her ascent, the commercials, the interviews, and the MVP discussion. For some, it wasn't inspiration, but intrusion. Clark didn't ask to be the WNBA's next great thing. She earned it. Players like Diamond viewed Caitlin as a danger to the culture they had cultivated over years of arduous work without recognition rather than as a victory for the league.
And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that she may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
However, they failed to recognize that Caitlin is more than just a player. She is a movement. And every dirty play, cryptic tweet, passive-aggressive interview, and other thing only made her stronger. She took the hits,